Cool. Well, I am just here for the intro, so I think maybe I'll turn it over now to Yash. Today we have brought in Yash Shivan, founder and CEO of Saral, and he has brought in Ketan Vakil, founder of Gourmand Foods, who is a great example of what you can do with this system of influencers that Yash has kind of pioneered here. And then maybe with that, Yash, I'll turn it over to you and we'll.
So we're talking about how to build your very own Illuminati, right? So what is all of this? It sounds very fancy, sounds like something that you would want to do, but what does this imply or entail? Basically what it is, it's you want to build a secret, almost like a secret society of influencers that keeps promoting you. And I'm going to share why, and then I'm going to share how you can do that. Right. So let's dive in. So what is my promise to you at the end of this? Like, why should you listen to me for the next, whatever, 15, 20 minutes me and Ketan are going to talk? I want to share a way where you actually generate revenue from your influencer program. A lot of influencer programs tend to be very top of funnel, very awareness oriented, earn media value, stuff like that. But at the end, as business owners, as marketers, we're accountable to revenue. So I'm going to show you how to actually generate revenue through your program. I'm going to show you how to get endless UGC for your brand so that you're not, paying platforms or paying agencies to get scripted UGC made. I'm going to show you how to get authentic UGC for your brand. If you get authentic UGC, that means you have an authentic source of always on promotions that are ongoing for your brand that just keep happening on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, the platform of your choice. You also reduce your CAC, your blended CAC across channels. Usually by the end of this, like if you implement this model over the next 6 months, you would have at least one influencer posting about you every day minimum. We've seen brands that have had 5 or 6 influencers post about them every single day. And when that happens, the general awareness level about your brand increases in the market, which means you get more organic traffic, your ads get clicked on more often, people are searching for you on Google, your cost per click on Google ads goes down, stuff like that. You get UGC, which converts better on your Facebook ads and so on. That's how you reduce your blended CAC through this method. And we've seen through a lot of data of brands that are on our platform that the average order value for consumers that come through influencers is higher than the typical average overall AOV on your website. And these consumers buy more, like they would last longer because they have this sense of loyalty to the brand through the influencer, right? So that's my promise to you. Plus, you'll avoid a lot of common mistakes that brands make, right? You're not gonna, nowhere in this presentation am I gonna ask you to pay influencers upfront without them having to prove themselves. The model by default reduces your risk of paying influencers upfront and losing a lot of money. So if that sounds familiar, pay attention. We'll get to a stage where I'll show you how you can make influencers prove performance before you pay them. Again, no agencies. You can do this all in-house if you want, or hire a freelancer, whatever that is. You can do this in-house, no spending money on UGC agencies or whatever. You avoid a lot of tactics. There is just so much information in this space right now. There's people talking about seeding, gifting, affiliates, customer affiliates. There's so many different tactics, TikTok shop. And these are all tactics, right? But what I'm going to share with you is just a fundamental model or design of your program. It doesn't depend on any tactic. So I'm going to show you how to structure it in almost like a pyramid fashion so you avoid falling for any of these tactics and build a program that's rooted in fundamentals. And again, we're going to share some ways to automate this and not do any one-off collabs or waste money on influencers. So that's my promise to you, right? So you're at the end of this presentation, you're going to get all of this. So pay attention. So how do I didn't just come up with all of this, right? I run a platform, it's called Saral, we'll talk about it. We work with a lot of brands, over 250 brands on the platform right now, including Gourmand, and I'll bring Ketan on towards the end to talk a little bit about his experience doing this model. But we have seen, I think the key number you should focus on here is that 34,000, whatever, we've had almost 35,000 actual partnerships between brands and influencers that have been facilitated through the platform. So we know what works. There's been tens of millions of dollars in revenue that brands have generated through the platform. So we've seen the type of brands that are super successful, and pretty much always a version of this, they're implementing a version of this method that I'm about to share with you, which is this pyramid or influencer Illuminati strategy. So this is all backed by data. I haven't come up with this. This is all actually working. So let's dive in, right? What's the fundamental root of this model before we dive into the actual how? The why is we live in an attention economy. I think all of us know this. We're all mostly, I think, marketers. We're selling to consumers. We know that you go anywhere, you go to a restaurant, you're on a subway, you're in your house. People, for good, for better or for worse, they are on their phones all the time. That means it's very easy to reach people because you can just spend $1,000 on Facebook ads and run ads and then just get in front of people. Right? Very easy. But it also means that it's very easy for your competitors to outbid you, to spend more than you, to run the same ads and get in front of the same customers. So in the attention economy, it's easy to reach, but it's difficult to stand out. How do you stand out? The way you stand out, how do you win in an attention economy? You win by being everywhere. You win by being everywhere in your niche. You win by basically think of it as buying every billboard in your city, right? You're not everywhere, but you are for that particular niche. So you win by doing that. How do you do that? You can do that by buying a lot of ads, but we went over that, right? Ads, lower ROAS, competitors are outbidding you. You're not really building a moat. It's mostly very pay to play. You're interrupting people's feed. People have ad blockers on, and you're not really capturing demand. I think this is very important. I'm seeing a lot of DTC marketing leaders talk about how Facebook ads may not be incremental anymore. Like you're not even sure if it's actually driving you revenue that otherwise wouldn't have been driven, right? So that's that. Versus with influencers, they flip the script, right? You're getting higher ROAS. The average ROAS for campaigns on Saral, the average across all brands is 5.68x. It's higher for a lot of brands, right? You're immune to competition because your competitors cannot steal your influencers. Your competitors can easily raise a round of funding, outbid you on Facebook ads, but they cannot steal your influencers as easily because that's your own community, that's your own moat. Think about like take the Gymshark example. For instance, I'm sure there's a lot of fitness apparel companies that make way better products than Gymshark does. But Gymshark's been building this community for over a decade now. They have dozens of influencers posting about them every single hour, pretty much. And so they're an extreme example of this model where they just have this community moat around your brand, and you have to build that in your own niche. By doing that, you become part of their feed. That's how you would win in an attention economy. You're not interrupting their feed with an ad. You're becoming part of their feed. You're going in front of your customers as they want you to, as in their mode of choice, right? And you're creating net new demand. You're driving incrementality by influencing purchases. Again, the root is influence. You're influencing purchases to happen that otherwise maybe would not have happened, right? So that's the core of it. How do you win in an attention economy? By building this influencer Illuminati that I'm talking about. It's basically a fancy, catchy way of saying you got to build a community of influencers that just keeps promoting you every day on social media. And I'm going to show you how to do that. There's 3 steps to the program. This is step 1, is you build a seeding or a gifting program. What does this mean? You start by sending products out to 50 to 100 influencers every single month. You can automate a lot of this with platforms like Saral, but basically what you can do is you find influencers in your niche and you test different niches every week. You're, let's say, sending outreach to 50 or 100 influencers every single week. We roughly see about a 25% opt-in rate to such outreach. You end up seeding 50 to 100 influencers every month because there's 4 weeks in a month. You end up sending products out to 50 to 100 influencers. What that does, why I recommend starting with seeding is because there is no risk beyond your cost of goods. There's nothing, right? So you're not spending, you're not paying money, you're not making them affiliates, you're not doing anything. You're just finding the right people and you're just gifting them product in order to start off a relationship with them. Again, no risk beyond costs. So if they don't even post about you, doesn't matter because you only lost your cost of goods. And it gives you opportunities to test new niches. And I want to bring on Ketan later on to talk about how he just found an entirely new market for his products through this testing niches thing. But basically every week, let's say, for example, you're a fitness brand, you want to test reaching out to bodybuilding influencers, reaching out to CrossFit influencers, to yoga influencers, to Pilates influencers, and so on. So you test different niches with your seeding program every week, and you track who is opting in more often, who's opting into receiving product more often. So you know which niche works for your exact type of product with influencers, and then you double down on that niche. So again, you're finding that core niche community of people that really resonates with your brand, your products, your mission, and so on. So you're testing different niches. So seeding gives you that opportunity. If on the other hand, if you would like to turn everybody into an affiliate, or you were to make them like just pay them upfront, you don't have as much of an opportunity to test different niches. So that's why I recommend starting through seeding. The goal of this, again, if you see that pattern there, right? We're building a pyramid. We're helping influencers ascend through different levels. What this also especially does is it helps you qualify people through their posts. So you seed 50 to 100 people every month, and then some of them post about you. If they're good, a lot of them post about you, right? What that does is it gives creators an opportunity to say, hey, I really like your product enough for you to send it to me for free, for me to have no incentive, no money, no commissions. I'm going to post about it because I really like and resonate with your brand, or I love your product, or it really worked for me, and so on. You're now qualifying influencers to then ascend them into the second layer of your pyramid, which is an ambassador program. You build an ambassador program by turning everyone who you see, they post, you then make them into an ambassador. Again, ambassadors are not the same thing as affiliates. An affiliate is a compensation model. It's a way you pay somebody for, you pay them on sales. That's an affiliate. An ambassador is more than that. You have to create what I call a compelling creator offer, which consists of three parts: an incentive for the creator, and which can be an affiliate, it can be maybe part payment, something like that. It can be even free product can be incentive. You don't have to make it affiliate. You then have an incentive for their audience, which can be a discount, which can be a buy one get one, which can be free swag, can be anything. Usually brands would do discount. And then the third part is any special perks that you want to add to your program, like free products every month, or some sort of a giveaway or something like that. It's you make a compelling offer so creators in your niche actually want to be ambassadors for your brand. So again, just to recap, you're seeding people, you're qualifying the ones that are posting, and only turning them into ambassadors. Do not A lot of brands make the mistake of turning every single people that posts into affiliates or ambassadors. Don't do that. Make your ambassador program exclusive, or some brands also do customer affiliates, where all your customers are now your affiliates. And usually that does not work because one, it does not necessarily drive incrementality, and two, or it doesn't necessarily drive behavior, and two, it doesn't make anything exclusive. You want your ambassador, pretty much any successful brand you study, Sephora, Gymshark, Lululemon, any niche, their ambassador programs are coveted. Influencers want to be part of their ambassador programs because they're exclusive. So do not turn everybody into ambassadors. See the ones who are posting. You could even add a layer on top where, like, the people who post, I'm only going to turn those into affiliates whose content I'm actually liking. So you have really curated list of ambassadors that you're working with. You have that, and then you have your performance-based rewards, where I recommend doing an affiliate model here as well, where you're paying them on sales. And what will happen over time is, so like, just to put some timelines to this ascension process, right? You'd usually seed for about 2 months before you start seeing enough posts that you can then turn into ambassadors. Once you have your ambassador program running for another month or so, or 2 months, you will start seeing that it's always a 90-10 or an 80-20, right? Where 10% of your ambassadors are going to drive 90% of your sales. What that means is now you have another qualifier of proof built in, where you can see, hey, of these 50 ambassadors that I've got, these top 5 or top 6 or top 7 drive most of the revenue for my program. What I'm going to do from there is I'm going to hop on calls with all these 5 people and turn them into custom partnerships. That's the tip of the pyramid. So you see how we're forming a Illuminati here, right? So what you're doing is you're taking your top 10% of your ambassadors and doing custom deals with them. The easiest way to do this is make it a paid retainer. So let's say, for example, you have an ambassador that has driven, let's just say, $5,000 in sales for the last 3 months, and they've made $1,000 in commissions at a 20% commission rate. What you can approach them with is, hey, I have proof of performance already. I know that your audience buys from me. Let me just pay you a $800 a month retainer for the next 6 months, for the next year, or for the next quarter. And I'm going to have you post a certain number of times. So if you're using a tool like Saral, we'll show you a metric that says, hey, this posts per creator is the metric, right? Hey, how many times has this creator posted for them to be able to generate $5,000 in sales? Let's say they posted twice and they got 5K in sales and they made $1,000 in commissions. You reach out to them, you say, hey, I've already paid you 1,000. Why don't I pay you 800 a month guaranteed no performance if you just maintain the post standard. Like, hey, you have to post thrice or 4 times a month, because you know that drives performance for you. And you do these sort of long-term deals with influencers. So think of this as, you have your seeding, you qualify with posts, and you have your ambassadors, and you qualify with performance, and then you have your long-term custom deals with influencers, where you're, think of all these influencers as your mini marketing team with a built-in. Imagine you hire like 50 marketers on your social media marketers on your team, and all of them came with like a 35,000 audience on Instagram. It's kind of like that. And you pay them like $1,000 a month retainer or something like that. And they're committed to posting a certain number of times in the month. You're building this like mini decentralized sales and marketing team that's consistently talking about you to an audience that they have trust built up with. That's very important. What this does is, and again, you don't have to pay them. There's multiple models you can do. You can, some brands take the ambassadors, let's say they have a 20% commission and a 20% discount for their fans. They would do a 50% commission on the highest tier, where it's almost like they're partnered with the brand because they get half the sale, right? So you can do that if you don't want to pay upfront, or if you don't have the budgets, you can test that. Some brands are also like on the more extreme end. They're doing there's this new thing called CSOPs, or creator stock options. So just like you have ESOPs for employees, there's CSOPs for creators. You can have a pool of equity in your business that's dedicated to these creators, and you can give them the equity based on performance. A lot of creators are in a zone of business where they don't know what their business would, if they're a full-time creator, they don't know what their business would look like in 1 year, 3 years from now. So they actually want equity in true actual businesses that will help them de-risk their creator business. So you giving CSOPs helps with that. So this custom partnerships is the most non-rules based approach here, but you can do whatever. You can do custom products, right? What Ridge.com, the wallet company, did with MKBHD, they're making custom wallets. Or I think what Hexclad does with Gordon Ramsay, they made Ramsay branded pants, right? So those are large brands that are doing these exact models where they're sending people up and they're doing custom deals with their top influencers. So that's what this is about. This is the model. Basically, in 6 months, if you do this starting like February, by June or July, usually the numbers that we see are, you start seeding at that volume, 30 to 40% of those become ambassadors, top 10% become custom long-term deals. What you would have is, you almost have this ecosystem of people that's consistently posting about you, and you have this model where again, you don't stop seeding when you do ambassador, or you don't stop any of this. It's just almost like a reverse ascension funnel where people are graduating through levels, proving themselves at every level to you. So you're de-risking your program. So you're not paying people up front. So you're only losing cogs, if at all. And then you're ascending people based on proof through this ecosystem. Exactly. Yeah. Like a flywheel. And then eventually what you have is, you have this, some of our brands, like they're getting, and I'm sure government's seeing similar volume, it's like they get at least 1 post a day. That should be your main KPI. You get 1 post a day, and eventually you get 2 or 3. And what that does is, like, if you're in your niche and like think of your customer, like every time they log into Instagram or TikTok, they should see you twice or thrice in a day, because those many influencers are posting about you, and your brand is just being reinforced consistently and subtly through reels, through stories, through different angles of content, and you're just everywhere at this point. And you even if you're a small brand, you crack this, you only need like 100 people in your niche, in your very dedicated small niche. If it's like vegan moms who love fitness, like find 100 influencers in that niche and go after them and work with them and make them post like multiple times throughout the month. So on average, you get at least a post a day. And that is the level where it really unlocks and it drives true net new sales for your brand. So this whole thing is the Illuminati model, where you're seeding, you're gifting, seeding, turning into ambassadors, and doing these long-term deals. You do those long-term deals because you want to drive that predictability. Again, the goal is to take out the chance factor in seeding. With seeding, gifting, even affiliate, there's always a chance that somebody does not post. They're not committed to posting anything. With the long-term deals, or when they have equity, or when they're on a retainer, they are committed to posting. And that's one of the things with influencers. It's such a channel that does not necessarily guarantee performance. So this is one way to guarantee it, where you're paying for something, you're guaranteeing some assets every month, and you're getting that, and you have that consistent flow of UGC that you can work with, run paid ads to it, and so on and so forth. So that is the model.